What to do if a stranger follows you on the street. Having someone follow you as you walk on the street can be super frightening and absolutely creepy. It is wholly undesirable for a person to be totally freaked out if this happens. It's not a situation anybody wants to experience. Unfortunately, it does happen anyway, and it happens to people who never imagined it could happen to them. It is something we have seen numerous times in movies, but what do you do if someone is stalking you? We are going to tell you all you need to do is keep yourself safe if you ever find yourself in this scenario. Have you ever had something valuable on you and feel like everyone passing you by is just looking to grab you and snatch that thing from you? This is just a typical reaction. We often get paranoid when we have very expensive items with us and all our senses become heightened. At any point, it could just cross your mind that someone seems to be following you. You turn around and sure enough, you start to suspect the young man with the hoodie. But for all of your concerns, the poor lad may just be going on a stroll himself. So how do you ascertain that you are indeed being followed? If you suspect that you're being followed by someone before you raise an alarm, you need to ensure that the person is truly stalking you. And there are a few tricks to confirm this. But first, we must consider where you are. Are you walking on a lonely, quiet street? Or are you in a super crowded location? Let's start with the latter. So if you are walking down this busy public avenue, but this guy in a red beanie seems to be keeping tabs on you, what you should do is get into the nearest coffee shop or restaurant. This is a great way to lose someone who's tailing you. Once you're inside, look around you to see if the stalker walks past the shop. If he or she does, then it was just an empty scare after all. But if he doesn't, you just might be about to confirm that the stranger is indeed following you. Don't just stop at getting into the shop, head straight for the bathroom and allow yourself about 10 minutes just waiting the time out. Usually, the stalker should tire out and move on if they see you don't seem to be emerging soon. After about 10 minutes, come out of the bathroom and scout to see if the stalker is around the shop. The stalker could be in front of the shop, somewhere around, or worse still, right inside the shop. Now that would be really scary, but it's okay. There's a smart way to get out of such a situation. If the stalker seems not to have given up and is still hanging around, proceed to the counter with a view to purchase an item. While placing your order, casually inform the attendant that there's someone following you. Naturally, you'd expect the attendant to do something about it, like alerting the local police or the management, whatever the procedure may be. Afterwards, take your order and take a seat in a safe place at the restaurant. Sit in an area where you can have a good view of the entire restaurant and, of course, the stalker. Now will be a good time to take out your phone and alert your family or friends about the situation. Let them know exactly where you are so they can come pick you up or provide some valuable company. If for some reason you can't reach friends and family, try to employ this trick to lose your stalker. Leave the restaurant or coffee shop and walk down the street till they might have lost sight of you. Immediately, the stalker comes out of the building, walk right back into the restaurant. Normally, stalkers won't want to walk right back into the restaurant as it would become too obvious that they are following you. With the stalker out of the shop, you can now take your time to locate someone who can help you out of the area safely. When you eventually get hold of someone, politely ask the staff at the shop to lead you out through the back exit so that your stalker, who might be stubborn enough to still be around, would find it more difficult to restart tracking you. Now that is what you should do if you find that someone is following you in a public and busy location. How about if you discover a stalker in a less busy location? For instance, if you are the only person on the street at the time, what do? Well, like before, you want to first ascertain that you are truly being followed, and there's a way to do this in a lonely area. First, start walking faster. If you notice that the person's footsteps are also increasing with yours, then that might be all the confirmation you need that someone is indeed following you. The next part of your tactics is how to evade this stalker. If you're being followed in an area that has a suitable road network or a row of buildings, try to make a number of right turns, perhaps around a block. About 3 or 4 right turns should rid you of the stalker and get you right back to your starting point. Walk briskly as you do it. Normally, the stalker should give up on following you considering the numerous short turns that will ultimately expose him as a stalker. However, this is not guaranteed. Some very stubborn and creepy stalkers may stay with you regardless. If anything, that's the assurance that you not only are being followed, but the person following you is desperate and potentially dangerous. But again, you don't need to panic in such a situation. There's a way to get out of it. One of the first things you could do is start running pretty fast. If you're fit enough, you just may outrun the stalker till he loses sight of you. Of course, taking further quick turns as you move makes it easier to lose the stalker. But then, this is for someone who's fit enough to outrun the stranger. If you don't stand a chance of doing this, it's time to get into acting mode. But this will only work on a street that is only moderately quiet with a few persons on the road. Approach one of the persons on the road and greet them extravagantly, as though you have known them for a long time. This will certainly be weird to the person, but once you casually explain to the person that you're being followed, more often than not, they'll be willing to help. Ask the person to walk with you to a safer, more public location. Stalkers would rather not attack two people, as they would be left at a numerical disadvantage. By teaming up with another person, you just might have drastically reduced the chances of being attacked. Wherever you and your newfound have decided to walk to, ensure you do not go to your house or apartment or any place affiliated to you. The stalker might have been discouraged to attack you, but that doesn't mean that they would have given up. They could just take note of your house and plan another attack. Therefore, for no reason whatsoever should you find your way to your home. Your first objective should be to lose the stalker entirely. Then you could carefully find your way home. But what if you're not so lucky and you're on a super quiet street with no one in sight who could be help to you? Yeah, this sounds like a pretty scary situation, but with some cool confidence, you'll be able to get out of that situation unhurt. Here's the first thing you need to do. If you have a hoodie on, tuck in the hoodie into your coat. Also, if you have a ponytail, loosen it and let all your hair down. The reason for this is to eliminate anything on your body that your stalker could easily grab at. Now, if the stalker is not too far from you, it's time to get into acting mode as well. Pretend as though you have forgotten something very important where you are coming from. For instance, you can in fact say it out loud that you have forgotten your wallet. That already makes you a less appealing target. Which thief wants to attack someone who doesn't have a wallet on them? There are two things you should not do. Number one, never say you have forgotten your keys. You could use your keys later on. Secondly, don't take out your phone, pretending to do anything on it, especially if it's just getting dark. The light from the phone could affect your visibility of the surroundings, and that is the last thing you want. Also, using your phone at that time would distract you and slow you down. Once you've made it known that you've forgotten something, and this next part demands some serious courage, walk straight in the opposite direction towards the stalker and past him, as though you were going to retrieve the lost item from where you came from. Meanwhile, you should be walking towards a more public area where you can lose the stalker. It's unlikely for the stalker to still pursue you after such an act. However, if it looks like you can't pull off the act, there's another way to go about getting out of this situation. But again, it's going to require some courage. Before you do anything, take note of the environment you're in. In fact, once you notice you're being followed, take note of your immediate location. Look out for the name of the street, house numbers, and the buildings around. You might need these details later on. You might also want to take a good look at the stalker. Turn around and look squarely at the stalker. Take note of the clothes the person is wearing, the person's build, and other physical features. You might need to supply these details to the police later on. By turning and looking squarely at the stalker, you'll also be letting them know that you have spotted them. This often spooks the stranger, as you have taken away from them one of their most effective strategies, the element of surprise. This catches them off guard, and for a moment, they no longer feel in control of this situation. Don't be surprised if the stalker takes flight in fear. And if they don't, still maintain your confident carriage and pose. Stand tall and keep gazing intently, and then seize control of the situation. At this point, the stalker may try to pretend to be someone else and ask you a lame question like the directions to a certain place. Whatever the stalker asks you, your reply should be the same thing. You don't know. Still, Maintain your calm confidence and be ready for anything that could happen next. If you are carrying any books or bags, be ready to drop them at any point. You want to be light enough to take flight if it comes to that. You also want to be ready to defend yourself. Remember your keys? Place them in your fist, allowing the teeth of each key to stick out through your fingers. This gives you a potent defensive strategy, just in case you have to fight back. If you're attacked by the stalker, don't be quiet. Shout for help to get the attention of anyone who could be around. Oh, don't shout help, by the way. Instead, shout something like fire. It's more likely to catch people's attention. Keep shouting to draw attention to yourself. And of course, if you can run away from the stalker, do that. While running, keep shouting and drawing attention to the situation. Not many stalkers would want to keep chasing you if you're shouting that way. And there you have it. Some things you could do if you find yourself being followed by some stranger. Overall, endeavor to be safe. Don't walk alone, especially in lonely areas. Be security conscious and well aware of your surroundings. Finally, be calm, level-headed, and strategic if you ever find yourself in such a situation. Comment down below your thoughts, give this a like, share with your friends, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell to keep you updated for more interesting facts, tips, and ideas from SmartVille.